Hi Scorpio, welcome to your Pisces season, March 2025 reading. Information to work with me one-on-one is below, as well as my website, payment options, different types of sessions if you're interested, and then Patreon will be the first link. So all of this content will be up there as well if you want that right to your email inbox. And then you get the extended version of this each month, your general reading. So I'm switching it up. So we're going to just talk about love and money in the first part. So I'm going to ask about it. And in the second part, we get more in depth into what that looks like. Okay, let's get started. So I already have a lot of notes for you too. So somehow, some way, I want to incorporate, for those of you who watch White Lotus, before we found out, spoiler alert if you haven't watched, that Rick, one of the characters, is a Scorpio. His girlfriend or whatever they are, we don't really know a lot of context with them. We just have dialogue, right? There's no like true structure, true form. And we find out that after his girlfriend Chelsea says to him, you know, you really are a victim to your own decisions. We find out he's a Scorpio and she is an Aries. So the victim to your own decisions, we might talk about that. We're going to talk about that a little bit in terms of love and money, and then whatever else transforms. So first I want to talk about money. This is you feeling very secure and independent right now in this way. You're at a point where this is now the consequence of your decisions and your actions in terms of how you feel about your self-worth, what you've acquired. You feel really great about it, and then a rebirth. How does this make you feel more like yourself? How does this also add to your confidence and your security? Does it have power over it? Or, in a lot of ways, do you feel more like yourself than ever, Scorpio? Or do you feel like a version of yourself, another version of who you really are? And I don't think we take into account what it takes to get to this Nine of Pentacles. Those pentacles, those fruits, have come from labor. They've come from seeds that you've planted. So now we have the Seven of Pentacles. You may be at a point or headed to a point this month where you are, through this transformative time, it's interesting the layers we could be at, are still looking at what you have. And I wasn't even thinking about it, but this is that victim to your own decisions, thinking about what you have and maybe getting stuck or contemplating, right? You're not utilizing what you already have available to you. And that's what this card is here to say. What do you have available to you? What do you maybe need to get rid of? What are you holding on to, but it no longer truly fits who you are, your identity? Actually, if you take a look at each one of these separately, which one makes you feel less like yourself? Which one makes you feel most insecure, right? Is this a hobby that you have? Is it your job? You know, it could be a big one. I think that's why sometimes you can avoid. You know, you avoid the pain internally, but then you kind of provoke it externally with others somehow, some way, because that's the part of water signs that take, in fire too, that take things extra personal, certain things, especially emotions. And it's your gift, but it's also like a curse in some ways. And maybe I don't want to use those harsher words, but it's positive and it's negative. pause. I was like positive and it's negative. And this is showing you, we're going to also use the star card because death is Scorpio, but it's also Pluto. So Scorpio risings, we have, okay, interesting. We're going to talk a little bit about that. For Scorpio risings, we have Pluto going through your 4th house. That's your caregivers, your parents, your foundation. So it's possible that you're realizing that, yes, you've accumulated, you've gotten to a place where you feel like you can own yourself. You're in your identity. You're doing well for yourself. And now you have to take an honest look at, and you're almost being asked during this transformative period where you're coming to an end of one and the start of another, to ask yourself whether the foundations that you're acting upon and that you're building from, the ones that you've learned on your own, and you're maybe taking a look at the ones that that's been passed down to you, what you've learned as a child, and you're starting to take an authentic look, and it's starting to ask yourself, or you're starting to change perhaps some of those foundations that you were given, and now that's even shaping your identity in another way. That's possibly having you take a look at how your parents did finances, if you knew anything about it, right? And how you both reacted from the way that they've done it, whether positive or negatively. It affected you somehow. It affected how you look at money, your relationship to it, where it's also maybe attached to your identity, is what I was going to say, because you did come out. And where you're taking an honest look at, because at times, even when you feel good, you can feel good, and then it's really important to take a look at maybe of wanting to invest, perhaps, or you have to decide and ask yourself about an honest expense that you may have to make. Either way, what's happening is a regeneration of your stability. You're coming to an end of a cycle and starting another. So even if it's just whatever's going on in your money sector this month and how you're spending and utilizing not only money, but your energy, that's going to show you exactly where I had it. Even if you're just recognizing your relationship with money this month, you're going to start to notice where your attachments are, what your relationship is to it. Oh, if you have to, it's funny. We hear the sirens and I'm like, duh. Whatever you recognize about your relationship to money at this time is going to come from a physical expense or a type of investment, the utilization, the current that money currently has. If it's stuck or it's stagnant, you're going to find a way to make it spread. And it's possible that you're going to start to really make an action plan that actually really excites you. So if you get excited about money, if you get anxious about money and excited about money, but in different ways, it's possible that you're meant to work with it a little bit more than you are now already. And if you are already investing, maybe there's a bigger risk that you're wanting to take. Maybe it's a business action that you're wanting to take, or investing in some kind of school or a different way of caring for your home and foundation, or you're looking towards getting a home, perhaps. That will ultimately, wanting to make big purchases ultimately will shift the way we think about how we are spending our time, our energy, and our money. Especially if you're someone who is in the mindset of long term. And usually you are, and you have 2 fixed signs out. It's definitely you are. So use this confident time. Sometimes it's really important to use this confident energy that you have to do things that are harder for you, if this is harder for you. Usually this looks like it might bring out some emotions, but eventually it gets to you to be a part of like, oh, this has been holding back something in me, and you feel maybe more connected to yourself and your intuition, because it's possible that this has been coming up here and there, and now it's finally happening. So very interesting. I love that for you, Scorpio. And I don't mean that, and like, I love that for you. I said that to someone else, but I really do love this for you. All right, let's talk about love. Scorpio with love. Oh, actually, I have one more thing to say about the money. This could also be how, if you have a, like, if you think about what Scorpios are known for, not to get too into that, but if you are needing to calm down your libido, or if it's like hyperactive, it's possible that you're needing to create or utilize your energy in also another way. So just for those of you who are looking, because it is Lent or Ramadan, it's also Venus retrograde, so it's all like, what can you fast and be disciplined about to expand in other areas of your life? So definitely take note of that. All right, so love. First card out is the Six of Cups. Let me just take a sip. This may be a time where you are more actively offering love, offering your time, offering your energy, whether you will start, if you're single, you may be looking to date, or if you're just like dating someone, you are in a mode where you're serious, where you're acting genuine and you're being honest. So if you're not, what I mean by serious is that if you're not looking for a long-term relationship at this time, or to invest your time with someone, then be upfront about it. And there's a way to be honest and kind if you're able to. Either way, I don't think you can escape getting away from thinking about, like, if I spend my time like this, it is going to become a long-term investment. So you have to make very clear, defined lines. And also, it could be possible that that through this dating scenario, you may come into more money somehow. You may find that you are maybe even expanding your mind if you need to, about what like wealth and communication looks like. I also think that you're recognizing that the way you communicate and the way that you talk becomes even more valuable when you are in the beginning stages of a relationship, perhaps. Okay, so for those of you we'll interpret this both ways. So for those of you who are single, it's possible that you will need to let go, or you may be triggered mentally, or something may come up in your mind about this person. You may be questioning who they are, and at times it may not feel like they're worth it. Or not worth it, but it may not feel easy. You may feel like uncomfortable is the word, uncomfortable. And where you get comfortable, hello, little baby, she came to say hi. And what you find out easily is that the more that you communicate, right, the more that you communicate, the easier it is to find out how this person communicates or doesn't. The quicker. And so what this tells us is that you have to be very careful if you just started dating. You need to be able to discern someone who really cares for you and wants to like show up for you, but isn't being overwhelming, right? So you may be feeling like you're on some kind of, this feels like you are moving on from something, and if you're in dating, it's not fully clear. You're not fully clear or healed from what has happened. So you may be bringing old energy into the dating realm, and through this process, it will help you understand how you've gotten into other situations, perhaps, and you realize maybe it's because you've either revealed too much too quickly, or you haven't revealed enough of the right things. So you may find yourself having maybe one-sided conversations with people. So it's really important that you recognize where this comes from. And it's possible that you recognize that it comes from your relationship to your family, to how you were treated, to how you were communicated with. And now you're learning to communicate with people the way that you wish they would communicate with you. And through that, you can learn to communicate, because there's lots of swords. You can learn to communicate your needs and then also receive what the other person needs. So just know that if you're dating right now, it will be quite the experience. Will it be long term? That's really up to you. That's really in your free will. It really just depends. It could be that they serve a certain purpose in your life. It could be that you're dating and you do meet someone that you want to continue to invest time in. That is totally up to you. And the cards say you will be meeting people. You'll be meeting quite a few people. You might even meet people through family or through where you have invested a lot of time, maybe even work, depending on your situations, or any investments in your life. That could be where you also meet someone. And through this process, you learn to let go of, preconditioned ideas of certain people or certain kinds of people. But there's a lot of communication, and there's a need for you to be very emotionally stable. And maybe through this experience, you realize that you've become more emotionally stable and decisive in ways that help conserve your energy, because that's really important right now. Very important. Because with this kind of energy that you're going through financially, you're going to attract people regardless to you, especially in terms of love, that want to match that energy. I keep doing that thing, that want to match that kind of energy. And it's really important that you're very clear, but you are still, if you want to still be open into being receptive. But it looks like this is really a healing experience for a lot of you, because things may come up from being a kid, from how you grew up. You're maybe healing some mental, you may be shifting mentally and taking on new beliefs that often go against the ones we already have, and we need the emotional stability. So you might just keep it casual in dating unless you feel really comfortable being open with someone. Just be careful. Or just be aware. Be aware right now. Act on your intuition. And I know you're like, well, I'm coming to you for love. Well, yeah, you will meet people, but just be careful with your mind, with your communication. And for those of you who are partnered, things are going really well. You're building, and then there are going to be some things that come up that come from both of your programming into the relationship, for you to take care of and understand that this is maybe a cycle that you go through, and you need, and like there may be some tests that happen. It seems as though that you're in a stable place, then something, you maybe delivered a message or something happens that makes you feel maybe less secure. But there looks like there might be a lot of communications that need to happen at this time. And things might need to be handled quicker. If you're used to being a little more passive about communication, things need to be handled a little quicker than normal. And it's really important that you see each other and see each other for who you are, and be clear about who you're wanting to become, and see if you can find a place where you can get to, okay, then what are the steps that each person needs to take, and then giving, they say like 90 days, it takes 90 days to make a shift, and you have to accept it first. So there are things that you guys may need to come to an acceptance of in order to really address And this could really be about your end of things. There could be a lot of insecurity, like things feel great, and then of course like when you're, it is said that in one area, when one area is starting to grow abundantly, so your financial area, then it's possible that your love is then tested, or that area of your life somehow, and vice versa, perhaps. So you may be needing to be very secure right now, and you may be tested, especially with your words. And this isn't just this could be in your committed partnership, but this could be in any long-term relationship that you have too. So like work, co-workers, your caregivers, wherever stems from that area of your life, especially for the caregivers and parents of Scorpio risings. And then love, it's your partnership. Yeah, whatever you avoided or whatever you're avoiding, you have to face, even if at first it feels really harsh, but then you learn that it could have been coming from power dynamics, lots of Mars energy, and you need to face it head on. Or if and it could be as simple or as small as there's a certain habit that like you wait so long or you procrastinate, and really you are procrastinating, you're not waiting for the right time like certain people need to, and more intuitive, but you're actually just not doing something that you could have been doing. Right? It could be easy as a chore, household things where you know, from when you grew up, and this is a specific example from a Scorpio that I know, like you felt like doing chores came from such a, and it's like if you had an Aries parent, right? If you had Aries energy at all around you, it was very, you know, they wanted it done at a certain time, and it's almost like in rebellion, you've been comfortable by going by your own rules. But if you live with someone and you're partnered with someone and there's expectations and you're wanting to grow in this way, then it's important that, yeah, you can let things go. But it's really important for certain things, like, for example, if you're someone who cares for plants or has animals, or certain things that like that need tending to on the daily or regularly in order for them to grow, or in order for things to stay clean or whatever it is. So if you're wanting to level up in those areas of your life, it's important that you stay up on those things and you pay attention. And that like then, okay, so you're going through the motions, you can recognize what's important, what needs your attention right away, and what doesn't. And then you get accustomed to just being in that motion, so then you're always doing it, so it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like this is a part of my life. So it's about looking at, if you're partnered, those foundational things that come up from both, you know, both programmings, and realizing that that's not the case. That's what came with you, and what's here is just growth needing to happen. And sometimes with the relationship, it has to be it means focusing on the household things, because that is a part of the relationship, is caring for this. Yes, it's a home or it's a space, but it's this living thing. Like you're constantly moving in it, moving through it. I have plants, we have cats, so it's like this is the growth. And like when you want to, like whenever it is, it's time for you to move, right? What do you need to get rid of? Maybe you start there. Start with whatever is easy for you to then get into the motion of really cleaning, maybe cleaning house at this time. Because the thing is, Scorpio, it's preparing you for the bigger, what's coming. Okay? Because maybe if this isn't about your house, this is about the foundation and the seeds that you've been planting out there, and they're going to start showing up because spring is coming, okay? Very excited about it. And also mental ideas, like starting to really grow and prosper, and you're starting to truly create them and bring them outside of yourself. So you're overcoming and possibly battling multiple different things, while things in the house and possibly personally with your partner are great. This is about combating your mental insecurities and growing, because you've grown emotionally, but it's growing in these other areas of your life, and perhaps overcoming a pattern that you've gone through quite a few times. Because this really looks like everything's great, but there's a part of you that wants to go, and there's a part of your natural instinct to maybe take flight or start a fight, but it's coming from you. So it's really important that you allow space for that this month. And when you learn that, and if you learn that, if that does come up, it's only going to provoke you and inspire you to look beyond the glass ceiling you and maybe walls you put around you, but it's only for the better, Scorpio. It's just important to recognize that you may need to find another way to communicate with yourself other than being harsh. Because it's not even like you want to, because you're not always this way. It's just the Mars energy is just like boom, boom, boom. You may realize that you're doing it to other people, and you may get weird. For some of you, you may have weird interactions with people that you've never had before, but it's because this energy is coming out of you. So it's so important that you really discipline your mind this month to something. Maybe, again, the 40 days. Maybe you take part in the Venus retrograde in some way, because... And if you create with this energy, you don't know where it can take you, but I do know it can take you beyond any, mental obstacles or loops or patterns you've been going through, if you have been, Scorpio. So let's get more into the second part. That will be in the first link below, Scorpio, and we'll see you in April. Hi, Scorpio. So I realized so much after this first part, so I'm going to put some of this second part edited in with the first part. So if you make it this long, you'll see even more, because we talked about a lot, very general, of course, and this, I don't know, it was just so interesting. So what can happen when you feel your best? This can happen. And this happens, like this is a normal part of our ego. What can happen when we feel our best is that, and when you're in a great place, it could be hard to believe that you may have to let go of something or to change something. You're like, well, I'm at a great place. I'm at my peak. Some of you are at your prime. Some of you are making such great money. Why would you want to change any of that? Well, because something could be keeping you from something that you're somehow, some way that you're taking up time or energy. Even if you're making money, that after whatever it is that you're doing, if it's if it's a job, a certain job, or a specific task at your job, right? Or if this is you and you do multiple things and there's just that one thing that you feel more tired about, it's possible that you may need to charge more for it. It's possible that you may need to switch things up and say, like, listen, this task it's not, and see if there's anyone else who is better at it and that can confidently move forward in that direction. Because right now, while you're at your best, it's not saying that you have to always be looking at something and always changing something, Scorpio, but we're in Pisces season. It's a mutable season. And something is trying to make its way to you, and it's your most authentic way of making money, perhaps. Or it's a very intuitive, insightful thought that comes from you while you're just going about your life. And if you get nudges to do something, but you're not doing it because you think, I'm at my best, that's not maybe utilizing this energy so wisely. It's like coming into a bunch of money and not taking care of debt or bills and spending it frivolously. Because if you're spending it and not taking care of that, then it is frivolous. If you were doing both, then it would be investing and also, a luxurious splurge, or treating yourself, or just spending money the way that you like to, right?